everybody, on this Memorial Day. Important day for all of us.
It sure is.
Thanks for joining us on the Morning Blend. We have a friend here with us, Katrina Cravy. She's a motivational speaker, media coach, author, mom. She's here today to chat.
The biggest one.
That's the biggest job. She's here to chat about ways to engage your kids in a world where they are always glued to a screen. She also has 4 great questions to ask them instead of "How was your day?" Because when you ask them "How was your day?" or they say, fine.
Nothing happened.
These are all questions you can ask your husband, too. It's one of those things, no one really wants to talk anymore. And I guess it's probably because we haven't taken the time to ask really great questions. And it is true what you were saying. I know Joseph and Billy, they're both addicted to Fortnite.
Yeah. It's all the rage. I mean,
which is a game.
Yeah, it's a
video game. But the thing is, because it's on Xbox and PS4 and PCs, it crosses all systems.
So they can be talking to their friends, which in some ways I'm telling myself is social. Oh, this is good.
This is interactive.
They have friends.
Right, yeah, they have friends. But it's really not really what you should be doing all the time.
Yeah.
And I think the really important thing to do is to make sure that they have something. If you're going to say, get off the screens, I need you to come talk to me, or I just want to interact with you, to not even do that, to just start interacting with them when they get off the screens. And you got to ask better questions. So one of the great questions, I got 4 of them from Scholastic.
Okay.
And it was really great. One of them was, the number one was, if a genie could take away 3 of your worries, what would be the 3 worries they would take away?
See, I think that's huge. My kids did this once in sort of a group setting, study kind of thing. And one of the things my son said was having enough food. He was quite a bit younger, but it's like what it indicated about his personality was just that he's extremely cautious and worries just like about the basic necessities.
And what you're gonna.
And it was shocking. I mean, the things that they will say they worry about, I guarantee you will shock you if you've never asked
Have you asked Billy that?
Yes, so I did. I had talked to him last night, and he said school, death, and what? And I was like, death? Like, really? He goes, well, I mean, I'm not really afraid of it, but it is something. But it got us talking.
Okay.
Which was the biggest thing, and I'm like,
how old is he?
He's 12.
He's 12. Okay.
So I'm like, school? You mean anything in particular in school? No, just school in general. I go, well, that's called work.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that worry really will never be taken away. But we can talk about that. So I thought it was an interesting question. And then another one that I thought was interesting too is, what song would you play on repeat constantly?
Oh gosh, like don't you already know it though when they're that age? Like
it's
in our house it's like Post Malone or something. You're just
really?
over and over and over. Yeah.
Yeah, and they get these dances.
Yes.
I mean, now
it's the floss or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, how do you do it?
I can't even. You're like flossing.
That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah, I can't do it yet. I tried to learn it, but I can't do it yet.
Yeah. And then some other things would be like, what if you could have one meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Which one would you have? And I asked him, and I was shocked because I didn't really know what his favorite meal was, which is awful. As a mom, we should know. Like, if I'm going to fix you your best meal for breakfast for your birthday, I should know.
What is it?
And he's like, it's Dad's meatloaf. Like,
does Dad actually make meatloaf?
Yeah, he makes this meatloaf from skinnytaste.com. I'm like, really? That's the meatloaf? He's like, yeah, I love that with the mashed potatoes. And
you like, who knew?
And you're surprised. See, that's the thing. I think they do surprise you if you take the time to ask them these questions.
But I also think their answers can change next week. You know?
Yeah,
so these questions can be used again, is the point. Like, you could use these over and over to engage interesting conversation.
Right, and there is a full list of them. I mean, it's not just the few that we've thrown out here today. There's a full list. I mean, you just Google it and you can find ways to really interact. Because I always hate getting to the dinner table and then feeling like it's just dead.
Yeah.
I always am in the show.
Yeah.
I know. You're in charge.
It's uncomfortable sometimes. You want to learn about your family and trying to come up with things that are interesting.
Well, and sometimes my kids, especially in the car, if they're on their phone and we're headed somewhere, especially if I have just one of my kids alone, it's an opportunity, I feel like, to connect. A lot of times I'll say, put away your phone, let's have some QT. Let's have some quality time.
Yeah.
But the thing is, then you have to have something to say or something to ask them. Because I think sometimes they are willing to put it down. Of course, my son will say, well, you're on your phone all the time. And that's horrible. You know, when you hear that.
It's true. I mean, we do pattern. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
So you get them to put it down, and kids, especially boys, will talk more in the car.
Yeah.
Even husbands.
Not direct looking.
They don't want to look you right in the face. So if we're driving and they can look out and just start talking.
Side by side.
Well, and they say that's shoulder-to-shoulder communication rather than face-to-face. Boys in particular, you're right, they don't like that confrontational communication. But I also think if you do something active with boys, crayons with, when
they were younger,
shooting some hoops or playing tennis even sometimes.
Little soccer.
I'm only laughing because my son went out to hit some balls off a tee, and I said, "Do you want me to throw them to you?" Okay, and I cannot throw. So I was over to the side, and then we just started giggling because of how horrible I am. But he was like, "Mom, you're awful." I'm like, and I'm like, "I know," but at least he remembers I spent 20 minutes outside trying to do something, even if I was lame.
Right.
Well, and it's interesting. The one I don't know a lot about parenting yet, but the things I'm learning is that they'll also start talking if you ask them questions about their friends versus about themselves. Like, who in your class is this blank, or who in your class is doing this right now? And all of a sudden, there's like conversation is going, but I think because it's not like they don't have to divulge anything about themselves at that point, but then it comes to that.
That's a great point. And to that point, too, we've had experts say, ask your kid who the bully is in their class. Because a lot of times, most of the time they know, and you got to worry if they don't know because it might be them.
Who's boy crazy, who's girl crazy, all those answers.
Right.
I think that's a good point.
It is a good point. And maybe they're, like you said, they're not so comfortable talking about themselves, but they will rat out everybody.
Absolutely.
So ask those questions.
The other question you shared with us is, what are 3 of your favorite memories?
I think that is really deep.
I was going to say that might be a little too deep sometimes.
It might be, and all depending on their age too, because sometimes, I all want to know, what was your first memory?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good question.
I think that's an interesting question, too. It's just all these things that you find out more about them. It's almost like dating your child. Yeah. I hate to say that, but it is. It's like, I should know more about you. I live with you every day, and we're running to this practice, and we're doing this. But, I really should know more about who you are as a person. And as they're growing up, it's like it's important to know exactly what's going through their mind. And one of the other questions is one that they have on Facebook all the time. What's on your mind?
Yeah. I always ask my kids, what are your 2 or 3 favorite things about me?
You ask that of all your friends. It is so true.
That's what Molly gets up and reads to herself in the mirror every day. What are my favorite things about me?
She actually makes us write them to her so that she can tape them on the mirrors.
Stuart Smalley.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Thanks so much, Kat.
Thanks, guys.
Great to see you here on this Memorial Day. We appreciate it.